Are you a Zinner? Today we are talking about Zyns. And if you don't know what Zyns are, Zyns have become the topic of discussion over the last few weeks. You've probably seen it in every headline of every single news article because there are people who are wanting to get rid of it, and yet there is a fight to keep it around. And today we're going to dive a little bit into that news. If you don't know what Zyn is a company that was started in 2014. And basically what it is these small little pouches full of pure nicotine that act as a way for people who are addicted to smoking or people who are looking for an alternative to smoking and can get that natural nicotine buzz. Zyns have become overly popular over the last few years from people on the internet, such as influencers like the NELK boys, Tucker Carlson, who has many times shown his love to Zyn, and even Joe Rogan now is popping a few, as the young kids say, Zimbabwe's in the lip here during a podcast episode. But many people are getting frustrated because people such as Chuck Schumer and government officials are wanting to ban Zyn and nicotine completely. And today we are going to dive into what is nicotine, what is Zyn, and why do they want to get rid of it. So let's dive in. Now, before we dive into it, I do want to just preface here, I am the exact opposite of a medical professional. I'm just a guy that enjoys learning. So please consult your medical professional, do all this stuff. I'm going to put a disclaimer right here. I am not a medical professional. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not a genius. I'm a moron. So don't listen to anything I say about health. I'm using articles written by very, very smart people, and I'm just sharing that info here on YouTube. Also, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell wherever it's at, and these videos are going to be coming all of the time. So let's dive into a few of the stats before we get in. More than 8 million people die from tobacco and smoking every single year, the World Health Organization reported. Not just one person, not just 100,000, but 8 million people around the world die every single year from smoking. 22%, or about 61.6 million people, reported using tobacco products or vaping nicotine in the past 30 days. This was according to a study that was written in 2018. Cigarette smoking cost the United States more than $600 billion in 2018, including more than $240 billion in healthcare spending, nearly $185 billion in lost productivity from smoking-related illnesses and health conditions, and nearly $180 billion in lost productivity from smoking-related or premature death. That's nothing that you ever want to hear, right? So this is coming from people who are smoking. Now, what's the difference between smoking and a natural nicotine pouch? Well, listen, smoking has a bunch of horrible shit in it, horrible chemicals, right? That you're breathing into your lungs. The tobacco is getting here into your lungs, causing those raspy people that you hear on all of those commercials. So if smoking is killing more than 8 million people a year, why are people so upset with something that is helping many addicts get off of smoking cigarettes? Well, let's talk about, before we dive into that, let's talk about first, what is nicotine? Nicotine is simply a stimulant drug that speeds up the messages traveling between the brain and body. Now, listen, nicotine is a plant alkaloid, which means that it's naturally occurring chemical that contains nitrogen. Now, that's a super science way of saying it, but basically it's just a stimulant that makes the brain feel a little bit better, right? Now, listen, here's the crazy thing that I didn't know about nicotine until I started doing the research for this video. Nicotine is actually present in other things other than just tobacco. It's present in tomatoes, eggplants, potatoes, and green pepper plants. That's not saying that the same amount that's in a tobacco leaf is in a tomato, but this is a natural chemical that's in foods and vegetables already. So I thought that was super interesting. Now, why is it so addictive, and why does it cause so much? I'm just gonna give the layman's knowledge. I'm just gonna give what I know, is it makes you feel good, right? If you do something like this, it brings a buzz to the brain, maybe takes your mind off all this crazy stuff that's happening in our world, makes you feel a little bit lighter, and it actually causes this pretty awesome sensation that many, many people will get addicted to. But at the end of the day, it comes down to dopamine release, okay? It releases dopamine in the brain. Now, why does Chuck Schumer, right? Why does big man Chuck want to get rid of Zyn, right? And number one, why are we focused on this? Well, Chuck Schumer put out a little message or whatever they do up there. And it was amid federal action against e-cigs and their grip on young people. A quiet and dangerous alternative has emerged, and it is called Zyn. That was a quote by Schumer. I am delivering a new warning to parents because these nicotine pouches seem to lock their sights on teens and use social media to hook them, right? Now, how did Zyn respond to this whole situation? Zyn pointed to the recent data from the FDA and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, saying that nicotine pouch use among youth is exceptionally low, with only 1.5% of youth taking nicotine pouches. Now, my question is why, when we are in a time that we're in, gas prices are high. Damn, you go to buy eggs at the grocery store and they're high. Why are we so unbelievably focused on taking these away from people? It is never my ideal world to live in where the government decides what you can and can't do, what you can and can't put in your body, as long as the FDA and these government officials are approving it, right? Now, I'm not just saying that everything should be legal. If tobacco all of a sudden, cocaine became illegal, I don't think that's the best option. But where the FDA and all of these government officials have already approved it, why is Chuck Schumer so focused on this? Why are these government officials so focused on this, right? If we were so focused on how bad nicotine is, why the hell are we allowing people to smoke cigarettes, right? If cigarettes and tobacco going into the lungs is causing 8 million people a year to die worldwide, why the hell is Chuck Schumer not wanting cigarettes to get canceled? Maybe it's because Chuck didn't get to use insider trading to invest in a company like Zyn, right? Maybe he didn't know about it and now he's mad. Or is it because of something else that he's actually serious about? Is it because the health effects are that bad? Now listen, nicotine pouches, we don't really fully understand the long-term side effects, right, of what this is. But in this whole debate between are Zyn, should they be illegal, many people have responded, including the Republican side, which they are going to be playing on this pretty hard because these guys continue to try and take things away. Republicans responded back and said, I am not a user myself, but it's hard to believe that that's one of the most pressing problems for the country right now, Republican Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio said. Mike Waltz, who's a Republican representative of Florida, said, I know for a fact our service members and emergency responders use Zyn as an alternative to tobacco to help stay alert. Now, listen, in my opinion, anytime you can get rid of tobacco and smoking, I have a feeling it's going to be better on the lungs. Now, again, I can't emphasize this enough. I am a complete moron. I am not a medical expert. I'm nothing like that. So if you're taking my advice on medical stuff, you're out of your mind. Again, talk to some people, talk to professionals, but most importantly, do what you want. That's what we want here in this country. That's what we want here in the world, is we want people saying, hey, do what you want to do, and if the FDA and these companies are approving it, let's just keep it that way. And Chuck Schumer and all these guys that hate it, you don't got to do it. Kids, do what's smart for you. I don't think any kid should be doing nicotine. I don't think any underage person should be doing nicotine. But if they are trying to make this illegal, then why the hell are all vapes not illegal in the US? Why the hell is smoking allowed in the US? If they're trying to do these things, then you've got to play it both ways, right? And you've got to look at the facts that your health organizations are coming out with. Okay? So now let's talk about the upsides of nicotine, right? Now again, these are just coming from resources online. I didn't create any of this info. I didn't study any of this info in high school or college or anything like that. But let's talk about it. This was posted on a very well-known, verywellhealth.com, one of those places that really focuses on this. And they say, although conclusive research is still unavailable, nicotine may have health benefits when taken long-term. These benefits include protection against illnesses and diseases like Alzheimer's disease, Tourette's, Parkinson's, and ulcerative colitis. And nicotine may also help with weight loss. Now, another article says it enhances performance on a number of attention and memory tasks. Now, let me just say that from experience. So I tried Zyn for the very first time. Now, family members are watching this. Yes, I tried Zyn. I officially Zynned, right? let me just tell you a few things. I have ADHD pretty bad. I don't necessarily know if it's ADHD, but I have a hard time focusing. I have a hard time keeping my body still. I have a hard time memorizing things because my brain is going in a million different miles. But over the last week, I've tried Zyns, and let me tell you something. I can clearly notice that whatever happens in my brain when I take a Zyns here in the lip, my focuses improve, I get more work done, and I'm able to focus just a little bit more on tasks that I have to get done throughout my day. If I'm doing something creative, such as writing or coming up with a script like this, it's much easier for me to focus and get that job done. Okay, now let's talk about the downsides, right? So according to medicalnews.com, as nicotine pouches are a new product, their long-term side effects are unclear. However, the short-term effects might include. Now, here's what they are including in their short-term products. Now, let me just tell you, in the researching of this video, I found many articles that were not talking about natural Zyn pouches, meaning just nicotine pouches. Now, these can be any company, Rogue, etc., etc. But here's what they said. Nausea, hiccups, a sore mouth, and irritation in the mouth. I think we've all drank lemonade that has given us these exact same symptoms. Now, I'm not saying that these symptoms can't be serious. I'm sure there's other effects such as blood pressure, maybe heartbeat, whatever it might be. But if you're a website saying that the only negatives, the short-term negatives to this are nausea, hiccups, and a sore mouth, that's the evidence that you're going to give us when 8 million people are dying from smoking. You're going to give us an evidence to a solution to this problem by saying, hey, if you take this, you're going to have nausea, hiccups, a sore mouth. Okay? But let me tell you something. Okay? A trusted source concludes that there were no, a trusted source, while a 2020 trusted source in this same article concluded that there were no significant adverse effects, the FDA warns that nicotine remains highly addictive. So again, the FDA goes, hey, listen, we've done our research. There's no significant adverse effects on just pure nicotine pouches. So what do you think? Do you believe that nicotine and these pouches are helping many addicts get over it, or giving people an alternative and maybe even using it to their cognitive benefit is worth making illegal? In my opinion, I don't. I think the fact that this is a problem that people like Chuck Schumer and these senators are focusing on is absolutely crazy. There are kids going through much worse in our country. Again, my conclusion is I don't believe any underage kid should be doing any substance, including alcohol, including vaping, including smoking, and including nicotine pouches. But I believe that when you get 21 and older, we don't need a 75-year-old guy, Chuck Schumer, telling us that we can and can't do things. Chuck, if you're gonna get rid of something, get rid of smoking. If you're gonna get rid of one of these things, get rid of it all. Because what you're doing is you're showing that 8 million people a year die every single year from smoking, and yet it's illegal. It's legal. So here's my thoughts on it. Do what's best for you and your body. Do what's best for you. Do I think there could definitely be some downsides? Absolutely. There's downsides with everything. But do I think that this is worth making illegal to everybody out there? Absolutely not. So here's my thing again. I'm not a medical professional. I just wanted to spread light on what's going on in this world. And I want you to like, subscribe, comment below. Tell me what you think. Should they be getting rid of Zyn? And if you know something more than I know, listen. Delete this video, don't watch it. But I'm just telling you, from a simple guy, this seems like an insane thing to be focusing on. So that's the end of the video. I just want to say, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment below, do whatever you need to do. Let's get this video rolling. And we will see you for the next video where literally a moron tells you about what's happening in the world. We'll see you then.